Ralph Vacchiano joins us now, covers the NFL for Fox Sports. Ralph, good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving a little early, buddy.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too.
All right, let's start with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. Do you think John Mara, the Giants co-owner, blows it up again and starts over this winter if this team continues to trend in the direction they're trending?
Well, yeah, the trend right now is terrible. And I think John Mara has shown over the last decade that he is a little bit more reactionary than he wants to be. I know his instincts are not to blow it up because he's been embarrassed, to be perfectly frank, that he's had, I think, 4 GMs and 5 coaches in the last 9 years. It's not the stability that he craves for the organization. But if you have an instance where they're going to play like they did on Sunday the rest of the way, and players are going to show their frustration, and there's going to be at least the appearance of a, locker room chaos and Brian Daboll having lost the team, then yeah, I think he's going to back himself into a corner where he's going to have to do something, or at least feel like he has to do something. I think the coach, though, is probably in much more danger than the general manager right now. I think he might give him a little bit of a break, but certainly I could see him changing coaches after the year.
Yeah, speaking of reactions, what do you make of Malik Neighbors' reaction after the game on Sunday and then walking it back a little bit today?
I almost wish he didn't walk it back. I know that he did because Brian Daboll talked to him and he needed to come back a little bit. But, he did say that he stands by what he said, which is good. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't think he was, ripping the coaches. I think he was expressing frustration that everybody who saw the game felt. He's a rookie, and I give him a little bit of a pass. If you really look at the film, the Giants only tried 8 passes in the first half. Tommy DeVito was sacked on 3 of them. He was hit on 3 others. There wasn't a lot of opportunity to get Malik Neighbors the ball, but clearly people agreed with him because in the second half, the first 3 or 4 passes were right to Malik Neighbors. So, he knows he's one of the playmakers on the team. He knows he has to get involved. Players expressing frustration to me is not that big a deal.
I agree with you. All right, you covered Daniel Jones for the last 5+ years. How would you sum up his Giant career, and where do you think DJ lands?
I would sum it up as really disappointing. I think that if you watched him his rookie year, there was a lot of promise, a lot of talent there. People, if you remember back then, saw his early performances and were really glad to move on from Eli Manning. And they thought, okay, we've got our quarterback. This guy has something. I think we saw that again in 2022 when he and Saquon Barkley basically carried the Giants to the playoffs. But clearly after, 2023, he wasn't the same when he got battered early in the season, hasn't been the same since he came back from his injury. It was just kind of a waste and a little bit sad. I do think there's talent there and someone in the NFL is going to sign him. I think the Raiders make sense as a spot right now that they need a quarterback, but from what I've been told, Daniel Jones wants to go to a playoff team rather than go to a team like the Raiders, where honestly, things could blow up as bad as they blew up with the Giants so far out in Las Vegas. He might end up in Baltimore, maybe San Francisco, places that could use a backup quarterback, where he'll have the chance to be in a better situation, get coached a little bit, and know that he's ready if he has to step in.
Yeah, back up just to watch some football. That sounds great. Right now, Saquon Barkley has the 3rd best odds to win the NFL MVP. What's been the biggest difference for him this season?
Well, running behind an offensive line that can block is definitely the biggest difference for him. This stat is incredible to me. Last year with the Giants, he averaged 1.9 yards before he was hit for the first time. This year, he's at 4.2 yards before he's hit. That's an extra 2 yards right off the bat. But for him, it's even more because it gives him the opportunity to use his skills, make those moves and those twists and turns. He's so good out in space. It's really just a great situation for him. I think that we all saw this coming. If he got behind an offensive line that could block, he's so talented, he could be really good. He's actually really surpassing that expectations. And I do think he's going to approach 2,000 rushing yards. He's got a real good chance to win the MVP. I think a lot of voters are a little tired of giving it to a quarterback every year. So if a running back can actually make a case, and the way he's turned around the Eagles, I think he's got a really good case for that. I think a lot of voters are going to be on his side.
And one of those guys helping him along that offensive line, the former Jet, Mekhi Becton. Look at that down in Philly. Hey,
yeah.
Ralph, we appreciate the time tonight. Happy Thanksgiving once again to you and your family, and we'll continue reading your stuff on Fox Sports. All right, brother?
Thanks, guys. Have a great holiday.